So this is the next morning. I have added quite a few new plants. I've planted them quite close together so that I can get this sort of jungle look. I didn't plan to use wisteria in here. I only actually used it because that was in the original tank, but I do kind of like it, and I'm hoping if I can keep it quite thick, it should look okay. My assassin snails really love it, so they're always in it, so I may have to keep that. I added a few things for my big tank. The big plant in the middle, that was one of my first plants I ever owned. I had it for my crabs. They used to climb out on them and sit on the leaves out of the water. I have this small lily. I had a lily in my 5-gallon and it actually died, but suddenly it sprang back to life and ended up having new growth. It's actually got a bulb of its own. So I don't know how that happened. You know, one minute I had no lily and next minute I had 3 or 4. I've put some plants at the top. I've got tons of this, so I'm going to let that come down and grow into this tank. I'm thinking about putting the plants along the back, long flowing plants really, so that I can cover the filter and then place some stones in front. I really like this piece of wood in the tank, and when I went to the pet shop the other day they had some almost the same in a more long log effect, and seeing that I want to put shrimp in here, it was hollow, so I thought it would be quite nice for the shrimp. So I'm going to make this an ever-changing tank, because I'll probably grow a lot of my plants out in here and move them to the taller tanks. I do find that my 5-gallon, the plants grow so quickly in there because they're so near the light. I've had to dim down the lights a little bit in here. This light is very, very bright if I put it back, and I do find it does bring in a lot of algae, and a new tank doesn't need that, so I kind of put it over the seam and that takes down the light a bit. I'll also cut down the light by just doing 6 hours of light. So this should be ever evolving tank. My 3 female guppies in there, who are all the same sort of dull colour. I didn't want to have fish in here that looked like tropical fish. I like the idea of having very plain river-like fish, and these 3 little females with just the yellow tails to add a little bit of colour. I have to be very careful with them. I have had one jump. I lost one through jumping. These females have not seen people really. They've been in a tank that was tucked away, and they're very, very nervous when you're near the tank. In fact, they seem a lot better this morning. So I have to be quite careful with them for a little while, but they seem to, now there's so much greenery in here, they seem to have really settled in. Now they've got places to hide. So I do find there's several things that I've found that make fish jump. One is the extreme change of temperature, one way or the other. When I had that with my heater going wrong the other week, and not being used to people, I tried to get all my fish so used to me being near the tank, but as I say, these were away in a corner, so they don't really know people that much, and you know, having spots for them to jump out of. I've been trying to fill those up with plants gradually so that I won't lose any fish. Now this hasn't got the heater in it, it's at 75 degrees. This is quite a small room, it does stay warm, so I'm hoping that the temperature will stay around that most of the time. So I really am going to start looking on YouTube, get some ideas for how eventually I'm going to do this tank. As I say, I really do like this piece of wood. It seems to have come into its own in this tank, but it was just put in the others for the reason that I had nowhere else to put it. So I've got all these bits floated about, so I just have my hand in the tank, put some plants in. And luckily, pulling out some of the plants from the other tanks, I have introduced more snails. I'm thinking about getting some trumpet snails or something that will breed quite quickly, because I do have quite a few assassin snails in here and I've never got enough snails for them. So I thought if I added a different kind of snail that could breed a bit quicker, I may be able to keep them well fed.